So how can you actually win by default and succeed faster than other people by actually doing less? And this is a business principle, I guess you can call it, or just a principle for life. You can really use this for anything. If you're an artist, or if you're an athlete, or if you're running a business, or if you just want to study better, or if whatever thing that you are doing, if you want to win faster than other people and succeed faster than other people, you can do this thing to actually win by default. And this is actually a concept that are used quite a lot by investors as well. And by actually doing less, we win over time. And there's a saying that goes like this as well, that time in the market beats timing the market. So for example, when you do an investment, normally you win by just buying that asset and just holding it. And in the crypto world, they have this thing called HODL, so hold on for dear life. Maybe that's a generic investment term. I have no idea. I heard it first in the crypto space, but HODL, hold on for dear life. It's basically this thing. You buy an asset and you hold it. So time in the market beats timing the market. And the same thing applies when you want to achieve something. Maybe you are starting a business or being an athlete or whatever it might be, right? Because most of us, we self-destruct, right? We build ourselves up and then we destroy ourselves. And if you are simply aware of that, not that only you are doing it, but that most people are doing it. Like literally pretty much all, I don't want to say all people because there's a small percentage who don't do this, but most people 100% do this over and over and over and over again. And we're not aware of it, so we never fix it. And it's only when you become aware of this thing that you can win by default. So what do I mean? Well, here's how it goes normally when we start a journey, or like we want to start a business, or whatever it might be. We're gonna go to the gym or whatever it is. We're super excited in the beginning, right? We're like, I'm gonna start this business. I'm super pumped up. I'm gonna buy that website. I'm gonna buy that domain. I'm gonna start setting everything up. I'm gonna set up a funnel. I'm going to buy my logo, design everything, right? We're super pumped up because things are happening. We're excited that things are starting. And we select our niche. We select our service, we select our offer, things are happening. Maybe we're going through a course about this thing and we're pumped up. But then what happens is that we actually, once we've gone through the startup mode, now it's about work mode and like operational mode and like a growing mode and selling and marketing mode. And normally what happens then in business terms, but this can be applied to anything as mentioned, we notice that, hey, this is actually pretty hard, right? We start to reach out to our prospects or we start to ask them, hey, are you interested in this thing that I've done, etc., right? And then we notice that, hey, this is actually hard. People are not as interested as I thought they would be. They don't buy as quickly. They complain about the price, or maybe you get people to buy, but they don't continue to buy. So you're like, what if it's easier to do this thing instead, right? So then you're like, okay, skip this thing. I'm just gonna do this other thing, right? And then you're super pumped up again. You start to build a website, a logo, a new offer, a new positioning, and then you're pumped up again. You're like, yes, now it feels like I'm progressing, right? Just to realize that this thing is actually also pretty hard. Like maybe it's easier if I do that thing, right? So it's called the shiny object syndrome, where you think that the water is greener on the other side, right? It's a cliche and you probably heard it 1,000 times before. But another cliche is this then, that the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it, right? And the powerful thing about this is that you are most likely doing it or have done it. I've done it, I don't know how many times, and most entrepreneurs that start out are doing this. So if you want to win by default, right, you don't have to be the guy or the girl who progresses faster than anybody else. Because we see all of those people who take off super quick and maybe you're discouraged, so you quit or whatever, right? If you just make this slow and steady progression over time and you don't quit, when you get to that point where like, this is hard, maybe it's easier to do this thing. If you just ignore that and continue to improve, instead of starting a new thing with a blank slate and try to like come up with ideas how to launch that thing, if you just use your brain power to decide to solve these problems that you have right now with your current model and try to improve upon that, and you build slowly but steady, you're going to win by default, because most other people are going to get to that point and then drop off and then do something else, right? And I had a very interesting interview with Sam Ovens. We did a podcast interview like 2 days ago, and we talked about this. And I asked Sam, and if you have no idea about who Sam Ovens is, he's a great entrepreneur. He's been making very well for himself, building 2 very successful companies now, one called consulting.com and another one called School. And I asked him, like, what do you like recommend to people if they want to start to make money online or start a business or start a school community? And what he told me might actually surprise you. He said that just like, if you need the business to work right now, don't start a business. Like, if business is your final way, like your final outlet to kind of make some money, you shouldn't probably start a business. Because if you're in survival mode, meaning that if this has to work, you will act from a place of like fear and scarcity, and you will take dumb decisions. So he actually said, like, if you're just starting out, like if you are making any money from your business right now, but you want to start an online business, like, get a job, right? He said, like, actually get a job, start to get like some income coming in, and then do this business side on the thing, or this business thing on the side rather. And because then you're going to be in a position where you're not going to panic. And if you're aware of this business principle of, you know, how to win by default and continue to go when the going gets tough, like solving problems as you go, that's how you win over time. It takes time. Like Sam, for example, now with School is blowing up, and it's going to continue to blow up. But he said something on that interview as well that was very interesting. He said, like, people don't know, but like, I've been working on this thing for 5 years. That's a long time. And after 5 years, obviously he has been seeing successors over time, and he believed in the idea, etc. But it's like, after 5 years is really now when it's starting to absolutely blow up. Like, he got a new partner or co-founder or a co-owner, I think, of the company he is, Alex Ramosi, maybe you've heard about him, and it's just taken off, right? So I just wanted to make this video to talk about this concept and how powerful it is and how important it is to continue to pursue when the going gets tough, and know that that is really when you make it work. Because every single person comes to the place when it's like hard. And we think that it's so easy because we see everybody else online succeeding so fast, right? People are just blowing up all over the place. We can go to YouTube channels and this guy is making so much money with this business thing or this other thing or whatever it might be, right? We just see people make so much money, and we're here and we're like, I'm not making any money and I'm progressing super slow. And on top of that, it's actually very hard. So I should probably try and do this thing that everybody else is doing because it's so easy for them. And you know, everybody has something to sell as well, right? If there's a YouTuber who's talking about how easy it is to make money with this specific thing, they normally have a course to sell you as well, right? So it's just know that you make it work in the long term. And it is hard and it takes time, but that's the beauty of it. And that's the same thing applies to, you know, working out or becoming a good artist, or, you know, becoming a really good athlete. Like the athletes that you see that are really, really good, when they shine and they win the competitions, that's like the peak of the peak of the peak. You don't see the mountain of all the work that they've been going through, all of the headache, all of their sacrifices, all of the arguments, all of those mornings when they wake up and they just feel like shit and they don't want to do anything, but they still do it anyways. and they want to give up, and they see all of these other athletes like succeeding faster than them, then it's just like dumbing yourself down and just like continue. Like focus on the input. Don't focus on the output, just focus on the input, and constantly like trying to seek inspiration from other people to get you over that hurdle, right? And there's actually a great book about this that I can highly recommend, which changed everything for me. And maybe you've heard about it. It's a book by Cal Newport. It's called Deep Work. And it's kind of relevant to this thing, right? But it doesn't really talk about shiny object syndrome or anything like that. It basically talks about setting aside time and like working on one thing for X amount of time every single day and doing like undisturbed work, because we're so distracted in this world, right? I'm recording this thing on my phone. I always turn off all of my notifications, but if you get a text message, I might open that text message, somebody sharing like a TikTok thing or an Instagram thing, then I'm off to Instagram, and then I'm lost, and then I've lost all of my built-up focus, and that's not good, obviously. So what this book talks about is just set aside X amount of time every single day when you work on one thing. And instead of just like setting aside time and working on one thing for like 4 hours just to get stuff done, apply that same principle to your business or to whatever this thing is that you want to succeed with. Like think longer term, So that's basically it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and hopefully this principle will help you. And also know that every single time when it gets tough and you want to give up, just know that every single other person comes to this position as well, and most of them will give up. So if you just simply continue to pursue and ignore that pain that's going on right now and try to find a solution to that, you can almost find a joy in that, because you know that most of your competitors, they're gonna give up and they're gonna fall off. And if you don't fall off, if you don't give up, you're gonna win by default. And that's how you win faster than other people.